Hey guys, what's up? It's EmerGamer7 coming back at you another video. Sorry I haven't been uploading in a while. It's been like probably 2 weeks since I last uploaded. I'm sorry, just I've been busy and just haven't had the time. And I do apologize for that. That's on me. But hopefully I can get back to uploading in a somewhat normal schedule. And I also just wanted to say thank you again for continuously supporting my previous videos, most notably the Dying Light video and my GTA Remastered video. The Dying Light video has now surpassed over 300 views, and I just want to say thank you so much for watching it and enjoying it, as well as my GTA video, which has now passed over 150 views. And if y'all haven't checked those videos out, make sure to put a link in the description down below so you guys can go check it out. Alright, well, shameless plug over. Now let's talk about the Halo Infinite. I told you this was going to be our next video, so let's just get right into it. We got a lot to cover. So this is just my thoughts and opinion on the state of the game and where it's at. So the good news is we finally have a release date for Halo Infinite. So Halo Infinite will come out on December 8th of this year, 2021, for the Xbox Series X, Series S, Xbox One, and as well as PC. That is good news. I'm actually glad that they finally gave a release date for that game. Now here comes the bad news. The bad news is the multiplayer for the story mode of the game. The co-op multiplayer will be delayed to a later date, which at this point in time no one knows yet, as well as the Forge mode of the game that will also be delayed. So that's unfortunate. And just in case some of y'all didn't know this, the multiplayer game will be separate from the game. You don't need to buy a copy of Halo Infinite to experience the online multiplayer. It'll be kind of treated kind of like similar to how Call of Duty Warzone is, which I think is pretty cool. And the game Halo Infinite will also be dropping on Xbox Game Pass. So if you are an Xbox Game Pass member, from day one you will be able to play Halo Infinite and get to experience it. My personal opinion, this is just me talking, I will probably not get the game when it releases. I'll probably wait until they finally announce the release date for all of us to be able to play the co-op story mode. I'll probably just play the free multiplayer while I'm at it and just wait for the co-op story mode to become available. Because while I'm a huge Halo multiplayer fan, I do not know any knowledge of the lore of Halo. I don't know what's going on besides characters like Master Chief and Cortana and things like that. So what I do like about the Halo Infinite multiplayer is it's kind of similar to Call of Duty Warzone and the Fortnite games, that it will have a season pass. The seasons will usually last about 3 months before the next one kicks in. And what's good about it is, unlike the seasons in Fortnite and Call of Duty Warzone, they do not expire. So if you buy a season, you can play it until you beat it and get all stuff from that season. And then if you want to, you can purchase the next one and continue on. So I feel like that's really good, and it's a really good player move from the developers. And also, unlike Halo 5 and several other games, this game will not have any microtransactions, which is really good. So anything you want, you gotta earn it. And trust me, I played a lot of Halo 5 and I grinded so much for so many points to buy so many gold packs. So I'm kind of glad that everyone kind of be like on an equal playing field, and it just depends on you and how much you play the game, and you get to earn the stuff. Now I'm going to talk about the video that Digital Foundry did on the multiplayer beta. If you want to go check it out, I'll put a link in the description down below. So I'm basically going to do a summary of it. And what Digital Foundry did was they tested the performance of Halo Infinite on everything, on the series consoles, on last generation consoles, as well as PC. I will only be talking about the Xbox consoles in this video. And they said it ran great. The Series S and the Series X both were capable of doing 60 frames a second or 120 frames a second, which is awesome. I can't wait to test that out myself when I do get my hands on it. And when they were testing the Series X version of the game, it was juggling depending on what was going on in the game. The game got too intense, there were so many explosions going around. The frame rate hovered around the 50 to 60 frames. It wasn't a stable 60, which I'm a little disappointed, but at the same time I'm not, because it is a beta mode, so hopefully by the time the game releases they would have fixed the issue on that. But it looks great, it performs great. I believe on 60 frames mode it was at 4K 60, and At 120 frames mode, it will fluctuate between, I think, 1800p to 1440p, depending on what's going on in the game. And what kind of surprised me, but it did surprise me, was out of all the consoles they tested, the Series S was actually the one that was able to stay at a stable 60 frames or almost stable. Like, it would hover between like 59 and 60 frames per second. But Digital Foundry did say that the Series S version of the game was running at a lower resolution. I think it runs at 60 frames, it runs at 1080p, and also runs at 1080p as well on 120 frames mode, with it going down to as low as 720p, just depending on what's happening in the game. And also, like, if you have a game running at a low resolution, then it's easier to bump up the frame rate because the resolution is not so demanding. Now I'm going to talk about the last generation consoles, the Xbox One and the Xbox One X version of the game. I am surprised. I actually applaud Microsoft and 343 for at least getting the game to be able to run on the last gen hardware and to actually it looks playable. But unfortunately for the last generation gamers, the multiplayer will only be at 30 frames per second, as opposed to on the Series consoles, which can play at 60 or 120 per second. So people on the 30 frames per second, if they're playing with Series X or S players, they'll be at a huge disadvantage just because the frame rate will be cut in half or more than half. Either they'll be playing with people that's playing at 60 frames per second, or they'll be playing with people that's playing at 120 frames per second. And there's going to be a disadvantage with like input lag and motion. The Xbox One X version of the game, I believe they have it running at 4K 30, and for the most part, it actually does maintain a steady 30 frames throughout the gameplay, which is pretty good. But at the same time, the Xbox One X was touted as the most powerful game console just not even coming up 4 years ago, and now it can only do 4K 30. I mean, I love resolution, I love graphics, but at the end of the day, I'm a frame rate guy, and as a person who owns a One X, I still don't have a Series X, but I do plan to get one within like a month or two from now, real soon. I wouldn't mind, like, maybe it would have been possible for them to get the game going like at 720p, 60 frames per second. I wouldn't have minded that, just so I can have the 60 frames per second. Now, just the regular base Xbox One or Xbox One S version of the game, it also runs 30 frames per second, but it has a hard time keeping that frame rate, especially when there's a lot of stuff going on. Digital Foundry said they tested it, and the resolution will drop to as low as 540p when there's a lot of action going on the screen. And I've seen the video when it does get to that point in the gameplay, the game does not look pretty at all. It looks pretty bad. Like, it looks like, I think one of the Digital Foundry guys said something like, it looks like a Xbox One ported version of the Switch. And I do agree with that. It looks pretty bad. It does not look good. But I know why they're doing this. They sold a lot of Xbox One consoles, and they're just trying to get Halo Infinite into as many players' hands as possible right when it launches, just so they can try to sell as many copies of the game as they can. But yeah, in conclusion, I am excited for this game. I can't wait to play it. I'm glad it has a release date, even though some portions of the game are not finished. But it's alright. I'll just play the free multiplayer until that happens. Then eventually down the road, I'll buy a copy of the game. But yeah, if you like this video, make sure you give it a like and consider subscribing down below. Hopefully I'll get back to a somewhat normal schedule and I won't disappear for 2 weeks. But yeah, it's Summer Gamer 7. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day, guys. Bye.